Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pink and Blue podcast. My name is Pink Boomerang.
And I'm Bluetoonz.
And this is episode
13.
13. I remembered. This is episode 13. This is the unlucky episode.
We don't know that.
Unlucky number
really
13.
Good.
It's not.
Maybe I'll, fall out of my chair and die.
That would be
Which
unlucky.
would be bad, but also fitting for the episode.
That would not be fitting.
Scratch that. Let's just... Yeah, but it's the 13th episode, dude. 13's an unlucky number.
What's an unlucky thing? Like walking under... Why is walking under an open stepladder an unlucky thing?
I feel like that's not even, inherently unlucky. It's just that, not that many people are big enough to walk through an open step ladder. So if you do, you might, knock it and it'll fall on you.
Well, it depends on how tall the stepladder is, I guess, right? Because if it's, one of those industrial ones, then they go to, 20 feet or something.
That's true, and they're pretty wide to support that. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, you have a question. Ask your question.
I do have a question. It's sort of a outlet. It's
just ask the question. No one cares.
Okay. If you had to choose to travel the world in one vehicle other than a car, what would it be? And you only have one.
Submarine.
That's a good answer.
You can get... okay, so here's my thinking. Well, I didn't really think.
Like
I just said it, and now I thought. But... but
I decided and thought about it after.
But submarine, because most major cities are on the sea, are on the water. So you can get to most of the major cities in the world, like New York.
Pretty much anywhere in
I can
Florida.
go to New York. I can go to L.A. I can go to Melbourne. I can go to somewhere in Asia. I don't know. I can go to...
Probably somewhere in Asia. They have water there, right?
Yeah, I can go anywhere in... somewhere.
I can go anywhere in any of the countries.
I can get to England.
My submarine has rocket thrusters on it. It is not It is not waterlocked.
It's not fast, but it's cool, and you can get anywhere, and that's my reason.
It is cool. Okay.
And they can shoot torpedoes sometimes.
That's true.
That's a good quality to have in a transportation.
That's what I want in my mode of transportation, dude.
Yeah.
When Elon said he was going to add rocket thrusters onto the Tesla Roadster, I was really hoping he meant missiles.
Why do you always bring it back to Elon? He's
just a dude, okay? You know what? He's... Rockets. Just ixnay. That's the whole convert. That was it. That was all of Elon for this episode.
All right. Do you promise?
But that's a good choice. I promise.
Okay.
I won't bring him up again. You can if you want. But I was thinking about a boat.
Uh-huh.
But obviously, if you pick a boat, why not? Why not pick a submarine instead of a boat? Boats can't go underwater
because boats go faster.
Yeah, but also boats are more prone to waves and if you have
shark
a boat,
attacks,
you could just capsize and you could die. I feel like submarines are a little bit more resistant to those types of things.
Yeah, submarines could definitely win a fight against, Megalodon.
For sure.
I don't know if that's true.
No
Does
way.
Megalodon exist? Can we have this conversation?
We can. It doesn't. That was the whole conversation.
How do you know?
You mean, did it exist, or does it currently exist?
Well, okay, did it exist is a good starting
I feel like
question.
it definitely did exist.
Okay.
There are some really crazy, creepy prehistoric creatures. And based on the size of, some of the teeth found and fossils of, sharks and that type of thing, I think it definitely could have existed.
Okay. I think
we won't know, but...
I think I agree. I think, probably.
I think it definitely existed at some point. Whether it exists today or not, I'm a little doubtful. I might even go so far as to just say for sure no.
I think, if we're talking, dinosaur age, because sharks live for, thousands of years,
Yeah.
So if we're thinking...
No.
Go along with it. So if we're thinking...
Okay.
If we're thinking, dinosaur age, then there's probably some giant thing that kind of resembles a shark that maybe existed.
Yeah,
and I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, and by the way, sharks only live 20 to 30 years.
Look, I saw an article that once said... Look, I'm not a scientist, but I saw an article, okay? No, but...
I read this article on this website called BuzzFeed, and they seem to know a lot.
I saw this one article where it's like they found like the world's oldest shark or whatever, and it was like 400 years old or something like that.
In like the Indian Ocean?
I don't know.
Oh, well,
It
was.
Look, it was so long ago.
It looked like the skin was like peeling off the thing, but it was still alive.
It looked like a 90-year-old, but a shark.
Imagine an old person, but if they were a shark.
Right.
They got the fin in the back.
That's basically what they were. What it was.
I was going to look something up, but I totally forgot.
You were going to look up if Megalodon exists today.
Well, it doesn't. Whatever.
Do you watch Shark Week on
I sure do.
On what channel is it? Is it Discovery or is it Animal Planet?
I think it's Animal Planet.
That would make sense because it's shark.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Animal Planet.
It's Animal Planet. Yep.
I know they did this year. They did Shark Week early because coronavirus or whatever, and they're like, "We're giving you content. Please support us. We are good company. We do not exploit you."
Hey man, I love Shark Week.
There's
nothing wrong with Shark Week.
I watched there's one episode where they took this guy who's like, trying to be a comedian, but not
not there yet.
And then they
or just not there at all.
They took Shaquille O'Neal, who is afraid of sharks.
What do you mean? Do you love sharks? Or are you like, yo, I want to go in the water and like stick my arm in a shark's mouth?
And Shaquille O'Neal is afraid of sharks, so what this comedian guy was trying to do is get him in the water with sharks and not be afraid of sharks. So you have this guy who's like trying to be funny and is just not. And Shaquille O'Neal.
This giant, like 7-foot dude chilling in the water with a bunch of sharks.
Yeah, next to this guy who's like 5'5". It's great.
Dude. Just kidding. 5'10".
It was wonderful. I love Shark Week.
Dude, Shark Week has some of the greatest programming I think I've ever seen.
I mean...
Also, there's only 31 seasons of it, apparently.
Only 31.
No, but that means, like, let's just say hypothetically we wanted Shark Week to happen, like, every week. It couldn't. There's only 31 weeks that they've done so far.
I don't know who would want that, but,
dude, I would totally
happen.
watch Shark Week every week.
We could watch it
Sharks are cool.
Basically every other week. And then maybe we just fill out, like, the extra weeks, like, all of December, so it's, like, Christmas Shark Week.
Christmas Shark Week.
Christmas Shark Month.
Or can we get, like, we can get an extra week in December for Christmas, then we'll get another extra one for Thanksgiving, so we can be thankful for Shark Week.
Something like that, yeah.
Something stupid.
Anyway, I hate Shark Week.
And they oh, you do? Okay. Well, Shark Week has officially licensed toys.
I wouldn't be surprised. McDonald's
I looked up
toys.
the first thing, and that's the first thing that comes up on Bing. Not that Bing is a credible source, but that's what Microsoft.
And Bing isn't
uses.
a source. That's a search engine.
Sorry, it's a search. It's not the most credible
search engine. It's not good.
Also,
is what
apparently,
you're trying to say.
Both Paul Walker and Guy Fieri have been in Shark Week.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's look. Let's look at all the people who have starred in Shark Week.
No, let's not.
No? Okay.
No, don't do that. Do you know?
Oh, there's so many.
Okay.
Continue.
Did you hear they were trying to rename Columbus to Flavortown after Guy Fieri?
I sure did.
This is great.
Can we sign a petition to make that happen? Because
I think there was a petition floating around.
I am absolutely in favor of that.
You are.
For sure.
Why? Explain yourself.
It's a fun name.
Not because Columbus has ties to Christopher Columbus, who did some stuff.
Yeah, but we hate Christopher Columbus now, remember?
Do we?
Maybe not hate. Hate's a strong word, but we have realized that Christopher Columbus was not that good of a dude.
I feel like there's this whole meta game with Christopher Columbus.
In fact,
like, at one point, we were like, wow, Christopher Columbus, he's pretty cool. And then everyone
but
started...
you know what? Now the meta is
microphone.
that Christopher Columbus needs to be nerfed.
No, here's the thing. Then everyone was like, no, Christopher Columbus is actually this, like, terrible person, right?
How do we know?
So then they started teaching that in schools, but now they teach both. They teach, wow, Christopher Columbus did all this
and
good
I feel
stuff.
like they teach that, like,
and then
when
they
you're
also
younger.
teach, hey, he's bad. And it's just like, what? I don't.
What am I supposed to think?
He's dead.
Well, I feel
Why
like
should
they
I
teach,
care?
like when you're younger and you're in like kindergarten and like through third grade, maybe. Like, oh yeah, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He found our continent in 1492, whatever. And then when you get older in high school, and they were like, yeah, he like set villages on fire and spread smallpox and like raped a lot of people. And then you're like, oh, well, that's not that cool.
Yeah, not really.
And
I'm
I
not
feel
a
like
big fan of
especially
those.
with no, yeah, me neither. I don't actually like any of those things. That's why they invented the smallpox vaccine. There are no vaccines for fire or rape, though, unfortunately.
If only, right?
If only. If only there was a vaccine for that, like, that virus that's going around right now. Bummer.
What virus?
Anywho, couldn't tell you. But whole point of this, obviously with Indians being Native Americans being pushed. Indians is the wrong term. That's what he thought. Native Americans being pushed off of their lands by us, colonizing the United States, and obviously with a rise in, civil rights movements and that type of thing throughout our time, and kind of realizing our past mistakes, I feel like Christopher Columbus has grown to become sort of a figure that a lot of people distaste, because he was the original one who just, started, sort of started off on the wrong foot with being like, oh, yeah, you guys live here, but I kind of want to live here, so...
But there's sugarcane, and I can make money off of it.
But there's, a lot of stuff that I can make money off of here, so...
Yeah. Thanks,
which
Spain.
Is unfortunate. Yeah, so really we should all blame Spain, right, guys?
Moving on, Kanye West is right.
I mean, we do need to talk about that.
We do.
Is he actually running?
I don't know.
I still don't know if it's a joke or not.
He tweeted it, so I mean,
when Elon Musk tweets things, they're true.
Look,
so
Kanye West tweeted it, and you brought up Elon, by the way, so you broke your promise, but I'm allowed to, so I'm going to say that Elon Musk retweeted it and said he was in support of Kanye being president, which, interesting take.
I broke my promise.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, you did. You kind of.
I'm sorry.
You kind of let me down. I mean, it's kind of okay. Anyway,
it just relates to this
cut back right now. So he's running for president, I guess.
He already has one voter so far, as we know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name, but you know.
But you can't vote for him in 6 states, and he's not even registered to be voted for, but he is running.
I went running this morning. Doesn't really make that much of a difference. Kanye's got to step up his game, man, if he wants to be president. Remember back in 2015, he was like, yo, I'm going to run for president. Everyone was like, yeah, Kanye 2020.
Remember when Oprah was going to run for president?
Nope.
But really?
When did that happen?
I do. I remember
Oprah could be a good
she was
president.
in an interview, and she was like, she hadn't decided whether she was going to run for president, and then on an interview, she was like, I'm waiting for God to tell me the right way.
Okay.
And then someone in the she was on a talk
someone
show, and then someone in the crowd in the background was laughing.
She just goes, vote, go, apply for the presidency.
So can we get Oprah to run for president instead of Kanye? Maybe Oprah can be Kanye's VP.
Maybe the other way around. Maybe Kanye can be Oprah's VP.
I don't like either of those situations.
Yeah, that's fair. Me neither.
Imagine,
do we know who Joe Biden's vice president is yet?
No, we don't. But imagine Kanye West going to meet with the UK's prime minister.
So what's up?
You've got one guy, Boris Johnson, who he
a nut.
Well, yeah, but he's in government at least.
Yeah, that's true.
And Kanye's
just
he makes music.
Yeah.
Imagine Kanye meeting with China's whatever their leader's called. Dictator, I don't know.
Ultimate dictator.
Ultimate dictator.
They don't want you to call it that. But...
The emperor. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to say it. Look, I'm not a Kanye believer. All right. I don't know what else to say.
If he wins,
he's not.
Which he won't. But if he does, I would say that our foreign affairs are going to be interesting. Not that they're already interesting, because they are.
No, they are.
Even more so than they already are.
Look, I don't want to get political, but Kanye is going to drive this country into the ground.
Dude, who isn't going to drive this country into the ground? We got, like, old man who can't remember anything. That's Joe. We got rich, slightly younger man who's got his head up his ass. That's Trump. And then we got much younger African-American music-producing man who has never done anything in politics.
Ever.
It's Kanye. Ice Cube. But, like, what you're telling me these are our choices? Really? Like, this is who I'm supposed to vote for the presidency.
Well, you can't vote.
Well, okay. As a country, this is who we're supposed to vote for as the president? Seriously? Come on.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done any better.
It's like going to McDonald's and they're like, okay, so we got the chicken wrap or smoothie.
The smoothies are kind of good, though.
And that's your meal.
No.
And you choose one.
No. It's more like, all right, we actually ran out of food. We can give you a ranch packet or a barbecue packet. Which one do you want? You have to eat it with a spoon. Actually, a fork.
We give you one or the other. Ranch or barbecue.
I mean, dude, it's only one or the other. It's not both. That's not how the presidency works.
I think that...
What if Joe Biden was elected with Trump as his vice president? We live on a reality TV show. I'm convinced.
That's just not going to happen.
Trump is the main character on a reality TV show, and we are all the side characters.
Trump has a crazy story arc, you know, or a character arc.
Dude's got a crazy story arc. I can't wait to see the finale.
Oh my god! But anyway, so if Kanye gets,
we're gonna die.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to step up and run? I'll run. No, I can't.
You can't.
You want to run?
I'll run.
Okay.
I'll like jog. I won't really run, but I'll like keep up, you know? Yeah.
Like, dude, this year has been so bad.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that at the end of the year, we have to pick a new president, and they all suck.
Well,
regardless of your political affiliation, they're all bad.
I just think, I think I've got some articles that'll change your mind.
Oh, really?
Mainly from BuzzFeed. And
in support of like a certain candidate, or
the South China News Association.
And what are they saying?
I don't know.
Okay.
I saw this one
article.
Are they saying
Kanye would be a great president?
Yeah. I saw this one article that was like, Russia's getting more popular. Should we let Russia take over the United States? I didn't read the article. Who asked that question?
Who writes that as the title of their article? It's like, all right, India is the most populous country of the world. Should we let India take over the world? No! We shouldn't. Why would we do that?
You ever see like a book title that's just like, or an article title that's just like half of it like makes sense and then the other half is just completely unrelated to the first half?
Yeah, it's like, here's an easy replacement for like your car's brake fluid. And it's like, oh, this is nice. And then it's like, butter. And I'm like, wow.
It's
like there are so many articles that are just like, what? Like, what am I reading?
It's like a book about the economy or whatever, and then it's like, why communism is bad for Cuba. It's just like...
Trump, the art of the deal, why communism is bad for Cuba.
It's just like a book about... I don't know, it's like a book about bees, and then it's like, Mao Zedong and how many people died.
They're just two totally unrelated things, but they just like smushed them together. Why not?
It's great. Speaking of India,
confuse me.
You mentioned India.
I did.
TikTok was banned in India. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about this.
Okay.
I'm not really surprised.
Okay.
I think the U.S. should also ban it.
I just saw an article this morning.
I saw the same one. Yeah.
Did you?
Or, I mean, maybe not the same one.
What
but
news publication was it from?
I don't know, man. You want me to go back and check?
I don't remember either. So shut up.
Okay.
And let me talk.
I mean, I'm just saying because, like, people have... There was this whole... I watched a video on YouTube. This guy, like, reverse engineered the entirety of the TikTok app, and the amount of, like, spyware that is hidden within it is absolutely insane.
It's a lot.
Is, on a scale of, like, not that much to sort of a lot, it's quite a lot.
It's quite
like, you would never need that much spyware or identification practices in an app about stupid, hot teenagers doing dances and making more money than you ever will in your entire life.
Do people make a good amount of money off that? Is that, like, an actual, like...
Do people? Yes. I mean, it's mostly through, like, sponsorships and that type of thing, just because, like, people get super popular, and then they're like, hey, guys, buy the new FlexPods Pro with my affiliate link in the description. So, my TikTok. I don't really know how TikTok works.
Is the ad just, like, they make a TikTok, right, and it's them?
Yeah, TikTok doesn't actually have any ads on it. Or I think there's one sometimes when you, like, boot up the app, but it's usually for, like, something on the app.
Okay.
Or sometimes it is just a, like, promoted video.
But do they just, like, if you get sponsored on TikTok, if you can,
that's a funny phrase.
Yeah. If someone reaches, like, let's say I'm a famous TikTok star and someone reaches out to me, do I, like, pick, you know, some random song by some random rapper, and then in the TikTok I just show off the product, and there's just, like, some random rap song in the background?
Like, TikToks can literally just be videos, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they can. They can just be silent. So
like, well, you could just, like, take your product and be like, this is my TikTok.
Buy Raycon.
Look, buy these name tags from your local so-and-so. I love mine a lot and use it every day. Every day.
It has my name on it.
I didn't... Sorry about that. I buy it. I didn't actually buy it. They gave it to me very kindly because they're such a great company with great products. And they didn't pay me anything to say this. This is a sponsored video. But here is the product.
They didn't pay me, but you can go to raycon.com/famous TikTok star.
You can go to raycon.com/pink boomerang TikTok to win a free gift card.
For iTunes.
You see that J Station did a free gift card giveaway on this, like, breakup video with his girlfriend or something like that?
I don't know who that is.
It's this terrible YouTuber.
Okay, that's all I need to know. You can just end it there.
Yeah. Okay. You just prank videos. How about that?
But no, I wanna go back. India banned TikTok. So in North America alone, TikTok has like 100 million downloads or something like that.
I really hope not, because that's like 1/3 of our entire population.
Yeah, it is. They have. I
Yep.
looked this up earlier. I don't have it in front of me, but they have like 100 million downloads in the U.S. and then in India they have like 600 million. So by TikTok being banned in India, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah,
that's 600 million people losing a service, and this is where the greedy ass Facebook comes in and they say, "Have you heard of Instagram?" and now 600 million people need a new app to satisfy their needs, and this is where Facebook comes in and they give people Instagram, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Facebook is pretty much just as bad.
Well, what I'm trying to say is when one company, like, being banned in a country is kind of a big deal, because after that you don't come back. Like, that's it. You're done.
Well, I feel like it also depends on the country. Like, if, let's say you ban TikTok in, like, Swahili, you're not really missing out on anything.
Yeah, but India has the largest population in the world. But
India has the largest population of users on TikTok as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. The U.S. only has 350 million people in it.
Yeah.
So even if the entirety of our country used the app, it still wouldn't be as large as India's population using TikTok.
Yeah. So when if TikTok is banned, then that just leaves a whole open market for somebody to just come in and be like, this is mine now.
Hello, my name is Mark Zuckerberg. Would you like to try my app?
So this is where Mark Zuckerberg comes in, and he decides that he's making a new app called Clip Clop. It's the sound horses make when they walk.
I was just going to say that. It's the sound horses make when they walk. They go, clip, clip, clip.
And it's exactly the same as TikTok, except India.
We are joking, right? There's not actually an app called Clip Clop.
No,
because at this point, I would believe that Mark Zuckerberg was like, guys, we have to profit off of this. Clip Clop.
All right, I'm going to the App Store. Hold on. Clip Clop.
Let's see.
Not Clip Clue. Clip Clop. Okay, so the first thing that comes up is
it a
Clip
horse
Claps
simulator?
Video PK or Home Advisor.
Home Advisor.
Or the first game that comes up is Big Baby !
Why?
That's right, guys.
Dude,
Download
the App Store
the
is
game,
like
Big Baby.
The App Store is pretty good about keeping like shovelware off and like bad games, but also there are so many terrible ones.
Like Big Baby.
My friend got this ad the other day. No, it was like Big Chungus Hunting Simulator or something like that. I was like, dude, that hasn't been a meme for like a year.
Oh,
the trend is dead.
Oh
Big
my goodness.
Chungus Hunting Simulator, and one of the things for it was like realistic 3D graphics, and it was just like a model of like chubby ass Bugs Bunny walking.
And it's just like a Blender animation, a really rough Blender animation.
He wasn't even like really walking. He was just kind of like. I don't know. I don't even know if his feet moved. It was just the arms swinging back and forth.
I mean, that's how babies crawl. They just drag their feet behind them.
Yeah, but they still move. Ugh.
Yeah. They just get, like, rug burn.
Yeah, but see, Big Chungus wasn't moving his feet at all. He was just kind of like...
Big Chungus is the shape of a jelly bean.
I think. Right?
Yeah. So how does he move?
I don't remember what Big Chungus looks like.
If you're a jelly bean. Don't look it up. Please, can we move on from this?
I'm just messing with my wristband. Yeah, can we stop talking about freaking Big Chungus?
We
were talking about terrible mobile games.
Okay.
Want to know what's great, though? Mobile game sponsors. Such as today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. The amount of times I've heard those words uttered out of a creator's mouth is... I mean, at least 20. 25.
What about the New York Times, though?
Do you think they're sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends?
No, that's not what I meant. But, like, why does the New York Times have an app if they have a website?
Because you can just look at it on your phone for ease
But
of
who's
access.
like, yes, I must download the New York Times app on my mobile device.
I'll tell you right now.
And a lot of people have said that. Do you think anybody hates the New York Times app? I've never even looked at it. I don't even know what it looks like.
Well, it has 30,000 ratings, and it's also number 1 in magazines and newspapers, which is apparently an app
category.
A category of apps, which is kind of ironic because newspapers are supposed to be physical things.
I know. Didn't Apple have like an app that was just like new, like not the news app, not the news app, but like just an app that has magazines on it. I think they did at one point.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
that used to be in the they had a books thing.
They had a books one too. That's different though.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, it's New York Times, Wall Street Journal is number 3, Washington Post is number 8, USA Today is 10. Lifestyle for Men magazine is number 11.
Okay.
People are weird.
Do people read newspapers anymore?
Even if you get it delivered to our house.
Even if you live in a big city, does anyone really read the newspaper?
I feel like probably not.
I think there are some people that still do, like the New York Times crosswords, because those are just so famous.
All right, actually, that's true.
Difficult.
My grandparents still read the newspaper, but obviously that's more of like a generational thing.
Yeah. But like no
I
one
like to
our
do
age
crosswords.
reads the newspaper.
Oh no, I've never read a newspaper in my... Well, I used to read the comics when I was younger. But that's just me. I didn't like actually read it for the news or anything of substance.
I read the school newspaper occasionally.
But that's like current and relevant to your life.
Not really, because I don't care about sports. So,
because I don't care about what's going on at my school.
And I also don't care about, what Steve John, a former alumni of the school, has to say about the school now, who donated like $1 million to it or something.
I know, I love when alumni donate money to your school. Like,
yeah.
Remember when we used to go here and it was so much better?
I remember when I grew up, and there wasn't even a building there. It was just grass.
We actually just sat on the grass.
There were no classrooms.
We didn't even know what books was.
Books was.
You heard me.
That's really good grammar. Do you read books?
Yes.
What was the last book you read?
Let's see. It's sitting on my shelf. I don't know.
Okay, turn around, pick one. Anyone.
It's this one.
Oh, okay, now he's getting up. All right.
It's called Chains.
Okay.
What's the last book you read?
Can you shut up? Sorry.
We love Bowie.
I hate him. Can we talk about my dog for a second and then go back to books? My dog sucks.
How did your dog suck? He's so cute. Well, I mean, I guess you could be cute and still suck.
Yeah, like, I was going to name a celebrity. I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm just not. My dog kind of sucks.
Why does your dog suck?
Because he barks for no reason, like he is right now.
My grandmother's dog is the worst barker I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've met like at least 12 dogs, including yours.
Yeah. And he barks.
Like she barks whenever someone comes into the house, she barks whenever someone leaves the house. It doesn't matter if she knows them or doesn't. She barks when anyone walks by the house. She barks when the mailman comes. She barks when my grandma makes her food. She doesn't stop. And she's not like one of those small, like, annoying, yippy dogs. She's like a mini golden doodle. She's like 45 pounds. She's like, it's big.
Sometimes I'll slam my, like, fist on my dad. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. What happened? Sometimes I slam my dog into the ground and he doesn't stop barking.
I have a little Yoshi amiibo that sits on top of my webcam and it fell over.
Oh, that's cute.
So I have to put it up.
On my
but what was I saying?
You're talking about annoying your dog.
Oh, yeah. I slam my hand on my desk sometimes, and my dog will bark at that, because he'll think it's someone knocking on the door. And then he'll go over to the door, and he'll see no one there. And he'll still bark for like 2 minutes.
He'll sit there, and he's like...
The door will be open, so there's the screen door, right? And then there's the door. So the door will be open, but the screen door will be closed. And he'll see no one's there, and he'll still bark.
Maybe he thinks that they're hiding.
He also
He's just being super safe.
He barks when we leave or come back to the house with our cars when we pull in the driveway, which is annoying because it's like you don't see any other cars ever in this driveway. You know it's us.
He doesn't know that. Maybe he can't see cars.
Anyway,
I don't know, man. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, he's stupid.
Oh. Okay.
I love him.
He's stupid. I love him, though. But he's really stupid.
Back to books.
What was the last book you read?
I read, what was it called? I read the Thank You Economy. I forget who it was by, but it was about how it's good for businesses to be good to the customer and not be an asshole to the customer.
Is that why Chick-fil-A is so successful?
I don't know. I think that's to a degree, it's true, right? Like, you'd rather be if there's two competing businesses like Walmart and Target, and let's just, actually, I don't even have to say hypothetically, Walmart is just an asshole. Like, it's the company embodiment of an asshole. And, then let's just say Target is 10 times nicer than Walmart, then you're going to go to Target every time.
Yeah. My parents don't like it. Well, parent doesn't like to shop at Walmart.
Yeah. I don't like to shop at Walmart. I've gone to Walmart once in my entire life.
And how was it?
They gave us good deals on back to school stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, the reason that people go to Walmart is because their prices are really cheap. The only time I've ever been is when I'm buying a new game and it's less expensive at Walmart. Like, Breath of the Wild is like $40 at
Really?
Walmart. Yeah.
Right now or when it
Not
came out?
not on the Nintendo store, not at Target, not at GameStop, only at Walmart.
Yeah.
And some of them are like really weirdly priced. Like Splatoon 2 is like $48.99. And then there's some games that are like
no one buys it for a day and they're like, all right, drop the price down like $1.
like yeah. But there was this one game, what was it? I think it was Fire Emblem Three Houses. And instead of being like $60, it was like $75. And I was like, what?
Good game. I don't know.
I don't know, man. You could just buy it on the eShop for $60, or you could go to literally any other store. But their prices are really weird. Like, some things they have are like totally reasonable, and some are just not.
Yeah. Again, only been to Walmart once. Cannot relate. Cannot add anything to the conversation.
Okay.
But back to books.
We've gone back to books like 3 times now.
I don't have anything else to say about books.
Okay. Then we don't have to talk about books.
No, but I want to talk about books.
I just read occasionally.
Okay. You
'Cause
read
I
every
feel
day.
like-
Maybe not a book,
Probably.
but you read every day.
I mean, yes, I read every day, but not a book every day for sure. I used to a lot when I was little. Like, I read the entire Harry Potter series by the time I was like 8, and I started when I was 7. And I used to find it really enjoyable, but I feel like school ruined it a little bit for me.
Well, school also makes you read terrible books. Some of them are good.
Well, some of the books that we read in school are really good. I feel like the thing that killed it for me was annotating.
Yeah.
And
Annotating
then
sucks.
finding an interesting book. Like, some of the books that we read were actually really interesting. We read this book this past year called Just Mercy, about the flaws in our justice system and how it's totally racially biased. And it was a really, really interesting book, and I actually enjoyed it a lot despite having to annotate it. Like, I enjoyed reading it, I just hated having to annotate it.
Yeah.
But there are so many books at school that I read and I'm like, wow, I have to annotate this, and it's terrible.
A double whammy.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to find a good balance of, like, a good book that you're really interested in, but something that isn't... like, if I find a good book at school, I know that I'm always going to have to annotate it, which sucks.
Yeah.
But if I try to find a good book while I'm on my own, it might be difficult, because what if I pick a book that I'm just not interested in?
This is why you go to Google. This is what I do when I try and find a new book. You go to Google, you search the books, the title of the book, and Google will always have like a certain amount of pages free for you to read before you buy it or whatever. So if you want to, you just go to Google, you read a couple bit, and if you don't like it, then you don't got to buy it.
Yeah.
And if you do, then maybe you pick it up, or maybe you can just search for the book PDF online, which
Maybe
is what I do.
online.
I do that a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, there's no way you'll have to annotate it then, because you can't just write on your screen.
Yeah, like that's how I read Sun Tzu's The Art of War. I read it through PDF.
Oh, cool. I mean, you read it.
I read it, which
There
was
you go.
it was an interesting book.
You got the experience.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I want to read it.
What I'm trying to think of the good books I've read in school. I think my favorite book that I've read in school is The Alchemist. I forget who it's by, but the author doesn't matter because the book is what matters. It's the artistry inside. But The Alchemist is a really good book. I recommend that. I don't know. What are some good books you've read in school? 1984 is good.
I was no joke just gonna say that.
Yeah.
1984 is really good. We read, what's that book called? Fahrenheit 451 was really good.
Fahrenheit 451 is good. Yeah.
Animal Farm was also really good. I thought that Animal Farm was probably even better than 1984.
I haven't read
in
it.
my personal opinion.
I want to. What I want to do at some point.
George Orwell is a really, really good author.
Yeah. What I want to do at some point is go through. You know how like some of the books we read now were like part of the banned book list or whatever. What I want to do is I want to go through that list and read all the books on that list. It's going to take me forever, but I want to do that.
I mean, they have to have been banned for some controversial reason, which I kind of feel like makes them more interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to do that at some point. I also want to read War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy.
I'm excited because one of the books I have to read this summer for school is Catcher in the Rye, and I've heard that it's a classic.
That's a good book, yeah.
And I have not read it yet, so...
Yeah.
This shall be interesting.
And, the other day, completely unrelated, but about books, I was thinking, what's the longest book that you can read? And luckily, there's a Wikipedia page to answer every question you have. So there's
not every question, but most for sure.
Yeah, there's a Wikipedia page for like the longest books. War and Peace is up there. Atlas Shrugged. There's a bunch of books that are in languages that you'll never learn. So you won't be able to read them, and there's no English translation. And that's no exception with the world's longest book. What's it called? Devta, I think, is what it's called. And it's like 11 million words long. It's written in like Urdu or some other Indian, Pakistan language. I don't know. Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, that's the answer. Fun fact of the day for you, right there.
I'm not going to read it.
I'm not, because you aren't going to learn an entirely new language to read it. Because who's going to sit down and be like, you know what? I'm going to translate this.
I'm going to translate this whole book.
I'm going to translate
that's
the
gonna
world's
take like years.
Longest book.
You have to learn the language and then also read the book on top of that.
And, that's not even the hard part. The hard part is just the translating. But 11 million words, that's crazy. Like, I read the Wikipedia article for Devta, and it was made by like one guy over the course of like 33 years or something like that, which is insane. Oh, wow. And there are not on the Wikipedia list, but off of the Wikipedia list, there are like books that are longer, but they aren't finished yet. So there's like a book, I forget the title of it, that's like 50% longer than Devta right now, but it just is not finished. And who knows if it ever will be. Fun fact, there's a Super Smash Brothers fan fiction that's longer than War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy.
That's really cool. I'm not going to read it.
I'm just putting that out there. But, fun fact.
Fun fact of the day.
Should we do a new segment every day, fun fact of the day?
We should.
For every podcast.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's actually several that have still been published after his death that I guess he just didn't finish. So do you mean the books that he himself wrote or just all of his books?
Let's just say the finished ones.
That would be 47.
That's a lot of books.
That is a lot of books.
Then again, half of them are kids' books, so more than half. Dr. Seuss isn't even a doctor.
Okay, technically speaking, he actually has 14 more, giving us a total of...
Hold on, the dog is
51. Oh, sorry, I'll be quiet. So technically he wrote 51 books before he died.
Well, that's cool.
Do you have summer reading this year?
Hold on.
Okay.
Henry, no, wait. No, wait.
You said hold on.
That's not what I... Oh, my God.
I'm waiting for you.
Sit down. We're doing the podcast now.
I know, I'm waiting for you. You wanted to wait until your dog was done barking.
Yeah, I do have summer reading. Hold on. I don't know what book it is. Actually, I don't care. I'm not going to look it up. But I do.
You should probably figure it out.
Yeah, I think either I got to do that.
Okay. Either I'm that cool.
Yeah.
Summer reading, I think, is a very interesting concept.
Why is that?
Well, because we only have to do work over the summer for English. Why is that?
Because...
why don't we have to practice math?
That's a good point.
I'm not saying that I
would rather
want to
practice math but that's also probably because I'm a huge nerd and I like math. So
Well, I'm a huge nerd, but I hate math.
did you have to do math over the summer in grade school?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that sucked. With those
That did
dumbass
suck.
hardcore books or whatever, math core.
I don't think that we used the hardcore ones, but
Are they called hardcore?
Something like that. I don't think that they are. But
Something
I don't even
core.
remember the name of them. You could
Common
say it,
core.
and I would have
Common
no clue.
core. I hate those.
You mean like the CPM books?
I don't know what that stands for.
It's like common practice math or something like that. I don't know. You know, now I gotta
No,
look it up.
I had a math common core book, and those were terrible. They'd give you like
It
12.
stands for college prep math.
Really cool. I don't care. So
Okay.
I had these common core books. They suck because
Yeah.
it was just like 12 completely unrelated problems, and you just do it. And half the problems were just like, what's 12 times 6 times 8?
Dude.
It's like a lot. That's a big number.
Quick question though, while we're on the subject, I guess.
Okay.
What curriculum of math does your school use?
What do you mean?
Like, do you use the CPM textbooks or no?
I
Because you go to a private school.
mean, we have textbooks, but we don't use them.
Do you know what the textbooks are though?
No, I don't.
So they're probably not CPM math textbooks. Because
Probably
everyone
not.
who's in CPM math knows about CPM math.
Okay.
And it's so bad.
I haven't had to use a textbook for math, and
Okay, well, I guess not a textbook. They have a website, too. They have online stuff. But
well, yeah,
it's just really strangely
every book
formatted.
has an online version now.
Because we have to go along with, like, state guidelines and stuff and follow
Yeah.
Common Core math curriculums. But I guess private schools can choose to not do that since they don't receive federal funding.
Something like that, yeah.
Is your math program like more individualized, or do you guys work in teams, or do you?
Yeah. Okay, so it's like mostly dependent on what the teacher wants to do. Like, my freshman year, it was very individual work based, and like you didn't really have to give a shit about the person sitting next to you, or in front of you, or behind you, or the other side of you, or diagonally to you. Anyway,
Okay.
and then like my sophomore and junior year, it's been a lot more team based. Like you help each other out with stuff because some people are just dog shit stupid, and some people are just really smart.
Yeah.
So,
Well, are you you guys in specific teams, or you can just like help people out in your class?
no, you just help people out. Like, so sophomore year, we had specific like tables, and you were sat in tables of like 2, 3, or 4 people, just depending on like how the seating chart worked or whatever.
Yeah.
And you worked with people at your table. And then if you were done, if your entire table was done doing whatever, then you go to another table to help people. But then in junior year, we're back in desks, and you just help the people next to you, pretty much.
Okay.
Because math class is essentially the teacher goes up to the board, they say, learn, and then they hand you a worksheet, and you do it. And that's most of the work.
See, ours is sort of like that, except math has never not been team-based,
Okay.
which I personally hate.
Yeah.
Because the idea that's encouraged is like, all right, here's an idea, everyone work on it. But like they don't really fully go in depth. It's more just like they introduce an idea, and then all 4 of teams are always in groups of 4 usually.
Yep.
But so then you and 3 other kids are just like slapped at a table, and you sit at the same spot every day. You sit at the same team, and so you get introduced a concept, and then you work on it. But if the teacher introduces a concept and you don't practice any of it, but you immediately just have to like talk with the people at your table about it, like no one knows what they're doing. So
Right.
it's a lot more like team based, but therefore there's a lot less effort on the teacher's part.
Mhm.
And if you have individual questions, it's really hard because you're always forced to like ask your team first. Like this teacher that I had this past year, if we had a question, we'd be like, all right, hey, Mr. K, it's not his name, first initial of his last name, but Mr. K, can you come over here and like give us a hand? He was like, did you ask everyone at your team first?
It's like, yeah, dumbass, we did. We're in a team.
We don't know.
We're working on this together.
Yeah. We don't know. How are we, like, it's just, the way that it's structured.
Oh, no, I didn't. Let me go ask them real quick.
Let me ask, do you guys know? No? Okay. Mr. K. And then he'll be like, it doesn't seem like you asked everyone at your team. And I'll be like, no one in my team knows anything, including me. That's why I'm asking. And he's like, well, it doesn't seem like that's the case.
And then
like,
it's like,
just,
if you
it's
work
really
alone,
frustrating.
If you work alone, it's terrible because then if you have a question and you ask because you don't have a team to ask and you don't want to bother other groups, so you ask the teacher and he's like, does someone want to help this kid out with this question? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's like,
why is no one?
Why don't you help me out?
I don't know. Maybe you're my friend, Mr. K.
Mr. K.
Jeez.
And that's the thing, though. Like, if I ever go in for individual math help, which this past year I for sure did, like, that's so much more helpful than anything that we have ever gone over in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a contest. The amount that I learn outside of the classroom, just individually with a teacher, is so much more than in the classroom with a random group of kids who I'm just forced to talk to, who also don't know what's going on, and then our math teacher's like, oh, well, you're all wrong.
Yeah.
Like, there was a test this past year, and the average on the test was like a 60-something.
Yeah, that's not good.
He was like, man, you guys must have not studied or something like that. And we were like, what? It's just like, no, we just don't know what's going on.
Yeah. This is gonna sound stupid, but math is an art, okay? And let me explain, right?
I haven't said anything yet. I just made a face.
No, mathematics is such an interesting topic because everything builds on itself, right? And there's a lot of discovery involved with learning math, and I think a lot of teachers take away from that discovery. Like,
I would agree.
What a teacher should do, instead of saying, this is how you do thing, instead you should be like, here's a thing that we already know that you learned hopefully a while ago, right? And then you say, okay, we know how to do this thing with that, and we know how to do this thing with that. Now let's do this thing that you never even thought you could do. And then you like kind of give them a push in the right direction. You say, but how do we go from here to that? And I'm using words that aren't very descriptive, but you get what I mean.
And that's the thing. That is the concept that is shown. I would say that in our school, in our math curriculum, that is the ideal that is pushed. But it's more of just like, oh, you guys remember this old concept that like we might need to brush up on because you haven't done it in like a year and a half? Well, we're not going to brush up on it, but you have to use that concept in order to figure out this, which you've never learned.
Right.
But if you have these ideals in mind, you should hopefully be able to string some thoughts together and figure it out. And sometimes that is successful in its execution, and sometimes it is not.
Right.
Like, I feel like the part that is lacking, at least in our curriculum, is like the push. It's more just like, yeah, well, you should know how to do this because you learned it last year. I'm like, okay.
Well, clearly not, because we're learning it now.
Yeah.
So, but
like, the amount of times that I've been told, oh yeah, you guys remember this from last year, or you should have learned this last year, or last year this should have happened. I'm like, what about this year? What
about right now? How about that, buddy?
What about this second?
But yeah, I mean, like the best math problems in school when you're learning something are the ones where it teaches you a lesson in the solution, right? So like,
yes,
like just to use geometry as an example, if you're using circles, there's a lot of cool math you can do with circles. Circles are cool, and finding angles and measurements and stuff by using your knowledge of, what shapes have what angle degrees and, whatever. You should be able to figure out that, this thing does this, which makes this be this. And from this, we can, conclude that this theorem is true. And that's what's important about mathematics is that everything builds on itself.
Yeah.
Which I've already said. I'm repeating myself, but.
Yeah, math is a topic that builds on itself. It's just that if you're not sort of, I guess, doing steps in the right order that can mess up a lot.
Right. People don't really know where to begin with a lot of math problems. And learning the basic concepts, like math itself isn't really hard. Like anyone can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That's not hard, you know? But it's the concepts that people really struggle with, and how certain objects or, you know, whatever can relate to different objects, or it's still in geometry, but how numbers relate to different numbers in an equation or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like everything has a fundamental like math is the fundamental language of the universe, essentially, math and physics. So,
well, I feel like math is just a big part of physics.
Right.
It's really just math.
I mean, physics is math.
Physics is just a second math. That's why I didn't have a good time this year.
Okay.
I love science, and we didn't really get to do science. We just got to do math and math again.
Yeah. But that's why
that's okay.
I think mathematics is like an art, because it... How do I say this? Learning these theorems and stuff, it's going to look really boring, right? But the reason I like math is because these theorems, you know, kind of open a whole new world of what you can actually do. You know, before you can say, that thing, you can't do that. But then you're like, but if I look at this thing and I say, hey, why does this thing do that? And then it builds on itself. And that's just something that teachers, I think, throw out of math, really.
Yeah.
Especially in our system, at least. But, you know, it's a really special thing to get to experience how different things relate to each other and how that all builds on itself. Not in a way of, you should have learned this last year, but instead of in a way like, this is, you know, maybe something you probably already know, and we're going to brush up on it because it's important for this thing, and this thing is important for the entire course. This thing is important for calculus, or this thing is important for trigonometry, or this thing is important for, I don't know,
other types of math.
Quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
But it's a really beautiful thing when problems, like, kind of relate to each other, and
relate to each other, and you
find
can figure it out on your own.
Find solutions based on stuff that you already know how to do.
I gotta admit, it is very satisfying when you correctly solve a math problem. You're like, yo, I knew how to do that using prior knowledge.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I really like these like math-related puzzles that you see on like channels on YouTube, like Numberphile or whatever. You have these really satisfying, cool math puzzles that don't really seem math-related, but using math, you can come to some, you know, bigger conclusion and find some pattern that is just really elegant in a way.
It is an art.
Yeah, it is. Like,
I feel like it more has sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, some equations, like, just to use an example, the quadratic formula, a lot of people hate that thing. But it's actually kind of cool if you like
it's cool.
Go through the proof of it. Like if you start at, you know, ax squared plus bx plus c equals, you know, 0 or whatever, and then you go through the proof and you're like, oh, that's cool. I mean, that's a really simple example, obviously, but
yeah, it's
cool in the way that things relate to other things. I'm repeating myself again. I don't know how to talk.
You use the word things a lot.
Yeah, I do. I can't think of specific examples off the top of my head.
That's okay.
For math, but yeah.
I feel like the problem that I'm talking about more exists just with, I guess, education as a whole.
Yeah, no.
It's not really individualized for the student.
Right.
Which also, I feel like, dude, I know the coronavirus sucks and people are getting sick and dying and the world is not in a good state. But I would say that there are at least a little bit of silver lining in what the coronavirus has exposed is an issue with our society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are way more aware of, you know, obviously with, you know, the events of what happened to George Floyd, and people are finally paying attention to, like, Black Lives Matter activists and that type of thing. And, you know, some things that we might have been a little bit too busy or stressed or caught up in our regular lives without quarantine sort of blinded us to those things going on. But now that everyone is sort of at home and reserved, and we really get to, I guess appreciate isn't necessarily the right word, but observe what's really going on in the world.
Analyze,
I hope
yeah.
that we will be able to make some positive change, especially in like the civil rights department and the, how we treat our environment and how we treat other people. Like, even just the example I saw at the beginning of quarantine that was like, like rivers have come back to the channels of Venice. Like, that doesn't happen in like...
not rivers.
Sorry. I just said rivers. Dolphins
rivers
have come back
to Venice. The rivers, they're here. They've been gone.
Dude, they have
so
water.
Long. Oh my goodness!
It just showed up, dude. It just like
rivers have showed up in the Sahara.
You knew what I meant,
That's
okay?
Crazy.
The dolphins have come back to Venice.
Yes, the dolphins.
And that hasn't happened
here
for such a long time. And the amount of pollution that is going into the air is significantly less, even though we're still, making a lot of meat and cows are farting up into the atmosphere. But like, there are so many problems going on, and this finally exposed them, and I'm sort of hoping that at least the silver lining of this will be like, oh shoot, we didn't even know that was an issue before. Like, maybe we should fix that.
Right.
Which also I feel like applies to the education system, because a lot of kids did much better with online learning because you can sort of go at your own pace and figure things out by yourself and figure out what works for you. Like, school is very centralized, and like, you learn things this way. This is how you do it. A teacher's going to tell you this. You read a textbook. You do the work. But I feel like, since people are stuck at home and they sort of have to figure out how they learn in order to pass all of their classes without a teacher, it's really helpful in at least personal growth, teaching students how they actually learn personally and they can figure things out on their own.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the current one-size-fits-all education model that we currently have.
Well said.
Why are you clapping?
No, that was well said. Good job.
Thank you.
I agree. I don't have anything to add to that. Like, that was just good. I agree.
But yeah, I'm hoping that we can make some change. Please. I would like to keep living on the world for longer than 50 more years.
Basically, what we're saying is, I can't say it. It's the end of the podcast. That's right. We gotta end it.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This has been episode 13 of the Pink and Blue Podcast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Our socials will be in the description. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, you already know you can find it on YouTube. Thanks so much, and have a great day.